Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Jake E. of Cyhra, not to talk about Cyhra, but to talk about you, the man, the singer, the voice. How's it going?
It's going great. How you doing? And nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, it's doing great. I mean, I'm glad you had the time to sit down with me and chat about the 5 most influential singers in your career. So I really want to say thank you.
What was that? What we were going to talk about? I thought we were going to have like a coffee competition.
Oh, I don't even have a coffee. Damn it.
Okay.
Yeah,
no. Talking about like thank you for having time. Is there something we got now? Is apparently time, right?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But still, I mean, you still have to squeeze me and some of that time that you have, you know what I mean? So I still have to say thank you and appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat.
Then I say the same, and I say thank you for reaching out to little me here in Sweden, where it's cold as yeah.
Well, it's been a long time. The last time we talked was when the album was coming out, so it's been a year, just over a year since the last time we chatted.
But hasn't this year been going fast? Like, even though we've been through a pandemic, it's gone really fast. At least that's my feeling of like 2020. That it just whew.
For me, the whole year felt like one day. It's just one really long day.
Yeah.
You know,
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it kind of felt that way. So, but before we talk about these 5 names, these 5 singers that influence you, I want to go back a little bit to earlier in your career. At what point in time did you feel like you wanted to be a singer?
A really weird question, or there's not really a good answer to it. I don't even know if I ever wanted to become a singer. I wanted to become a professional hockey player. so I completely skipped school, so to say. Like I didn't care much about school because I knew that I was going to be playing hockey the rest of my life. And then I got injured, and I were like saying to myself, like, oh, holy shit, what am I going to do now? And I didn't really have like a backup plan. I had an education. I actually studied to become an electrician, which I actually did for a couple of years. But like, if going back in time when I still was in school and I got injured and stuff like that, I thought, like, what's the second best thing to do? And that was like, I had like this discussion with myself, and I realized rock star would be cool. So like all the effort that I put into becoming a hockey player, I then turned and put all the effort into becoming a musician. And the reason why I became a singer was that I studied trumpet from I was 7 years old. Here in Sweden, we have the great opportunity for kids that when you start like 1st or 2nd grade, it's completely free to learn an instrument. And I applied obviously for guitar and drums and so on, but all those places were already filled. And my third choice was the trumpet, which I had never touched in my whole life. I don't know why I wrote it down. It was made of gold, I guess. I don't know. But so I played that from like I was 7 to 14. So I had a hum of like musical theory and melody and so on. But a friend of mine came up to me and he asked me when we were younger, he said, "Hey Jake, do you know any singer? Because we need a singer to my band, like for my band." And I lied straight in his face and I said, like, "Yeah, I've been singing for years, I'll do it." I had never sung in my whole life. So we get like to this rehearsal room and we start jamming some metal songs. And luckily for me, they were as bad as I was. And also the PA and like all the equipment that they had back then, and like this tiny little room. I mean, like my studio where I'm sitting in today is probably bigger. So, all the sounds just reflected through the walls and, everything just sounded like Lemmy's bass on stage. And they were like happy as fuck, and they were like, yeah, it went great, you're our new singer. And I'm like, okay. But I thought it was so funny, so I were going to the rehearsal rooms like 3, 4, 5 days a week, and I was just singing and singing and singing and singing. And in the beginning it sounded like crap, and I don't know how it sounds now, but I think that it sounds a little bit better. So that was how I started. And then at one point, I realized that the small city that I grew up in was way too it was too small. Like, no one were into metal. I come from like a punk community. A lot of great punk bands come from the city where I'm from, Mariestad in Sweden. And so I decided to move to Gothenburg, because that was like the place that I knew that all my favorite bands came from, like Hammerfall, Dark Tranquillity, and Flames. And I thought that it would be like a lot of bars, a lot, you know, like metal everywhere, but I was so wrong. It was one place. But and that's where everything then continued on. So yeah, that's the story how I became where I am today.
Did you take any lessons, singing lessons, or no?
I actually took one lesson once, and they started with like, because like at one point I thought I had like problems with, I was getting sore. I couldn't sing for a long time, and you like I knew that I was doing something wrong, but I couldn't figure out what it was. So I signed up for a girl that was a teacher, but she started with like all those weird stuff that I couldn't like, and I was like, can you just fucking tell me what I'm doing wrong? So I went there once and I never got back.
Did you ever figure out what was the thing that you were doing wrong?
Yeah. I used my I used my throat instead of my body.
Makes sense.
It would probably have helped me to stay there. I mean, like, that would probably have taken me like 3 weeks to like figure out what was wrong. Now it probably took me like 2-3 years, until I got to the point where this is how you do it.
Do you remember the first time that you went on stage and performed in front of an audience?
Yes, I do. Or at least one of the times, you know, we played on one of these like places where kids go after school with my band. And I don't remember how old I was, but 16, 17 or something like that. And I never realized back then that we were going to do some shows or whatever. So I think this must have been the first time. So someone comes rushing into our rehearsal room, and the youth center or whatever it's called, was just 3 doors down. Can you play? And we were like, yeah. But I always sang like different vocal lines on my songs and different lyrics, like gibberish, like yeah. So I remember I was just improvising the whole show. That was fun.
That's hilarious. You've came a long way from those early beginnings.
Yeah, I still improvise though.
Now you need to bring a trumpet on tour.
Yeah, there's actually one clip when we had one of few rehearsals with my old band where I actually found the trumpet in the rehearsal room, and we were jamming along, and that was fun. I don't think that I remember how to do it anymore, but it was fun back then. But I will probably never play the trumpet on an album. Maybe I should, like, just
maybe at the end of the record, as one of those hidden bonus tracks from back in the day when you skip the CD forward a little bit and there's a hidden bonus track. There's you playing the trumpet.
Or maybe I should start, like, when we get back to touring again, maybe I should bring the trumpet on tour, and when I ask the audience, like, do you want another song? And they say yes, I go out there and play the trumpet, and they say no.
As the encore. Oh man, that would be absolutely hilarious. I think it would be such a troll move to do, but it would be so much fun at the same time. Uh,
Yeah.
Now, moving from those early beginnings into your list of the five most influential singers to you, I want to start off with Jon Bon Jovi. I thought that was
Yeah.
I thought that was a really interesting pick. To me, that kind of came out of left field. Uh,
Why?
I just didn't picture you as a Jon Bon Jovi fan. Actually, I have a hard time picturing anybody as a Jon Bon Jovi fan, but uh, not that I hate Bon Jovi, but it just seems to be a little bit strange. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Uh,
What is it about Jon Bon Jovi?
the funny thing is that when I grew up, I started to listen to rock music and metal music really, really early on because I grew up with my mom at my grandma's place. So I don't remember how old I was when we moved away, but I was like 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. But I was still always at my grandma. And my uncles, they were 10 years older than me. So they were, when I was 4, they were 12, 13, whatever. Um, uh, Obviously, if I was 4, they were 14. But anyway, I don't really remember how old I was. But they were playing metal all the time, and they were record collectors, so they had everything. And they listened to a lot of like Dokken and like the old 80s stuff. And but they never listened to Bon Jovi. So I found Bon Jovi myself maybe when I was 14, 15 years old, and that back at that point, Bon Jovi's era was more or less already over. But what I liked was the vocal lines, his way of singing, his way of putting emotions into the words. And I learned a lot by just singing Bon Jovi songs, because whatever you say about Jon Bon Jovi, nowadays he's an old man that likes to or he pretends to be Bruce Springsteen, but back then he were a phenomenal singer with like such control of his voice, and I always looked up to him, trying to figure out like how he did all those things.
I always felt, listening to Bon Jovi from that era, I always felt like he had a lot of warmth in his voice. And he was able to translate the emotion of the lyrics to the way he delivered the song. So that I agree with you 100%. I always felt that way about his music as well. Like it didn't feel like he just wrote this because it was kind of hooky and catchy. It kind of felt like there was some heart in it.
Yeah, exactly. But that was exactly what it was trying to tell you. Like, you feel the words that he's singing back then. It's not the It's My Life era, but I really admire that. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a thing for you guys over there to not like him, but
No, I grew up in Portugal. I grew up listening to Bon Jovi. I like that 80s era of Bon Jovi. It's just then later on, I'm not as much of a fan. Like it didn't age well. Let's put it that way.
But here's the thing. I've never been a super fan of the band. I don't ever think I've been to a show with Bon Jovi, even if I wanted to.
I've been to one.
Yeah. But so I never like fanboyed the band in any way. I barely have any albums. I only have like the classics. But this was an inspiration for me growing up to become a singer.
Mm-hmm. In the same vein as Bon Jovi, you have Joey Tempest from Europe on that list. That one I wasn't surprised.
Okay, that's good to hear. I think that if you are a Europe fan and also maybe an Amaranth or Cyhra or even Dreamland fan, those bands that I've been in, I think you could hear that I've been influenced by Joey Tempest a lot on especially ballads. So Yeah, I mean, I remember first time I heard it. I think the first song that I heard was "Sign of the Times,"
Oh,
and I think
it was not the final countdown?
no, the Final Countdown was released '86. I'm born '82, and I think my first connection with Europe was when I was like 7 or 8 years old. So no, it was not a Final Countdown. Unfortunately, I was too young. I would have killed to be a teenager, 1986. Like, oh my God. I would have gone to every Europe show. But anyhow, I remember, I think it was Sign of the Times. It was the first song that I heard, but I remember I got this on a tape from my uncles, and I played it over and over and over and over and over again. Like, fantastic. Now when you listen back to like those old albums, you realize that they have a lot of songs that are not really as good as you remember them. But back then it was like the best, fantastic. But Joey Tempest back then, what a singer he was.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think sometimes people, you look back into the past, right? And you look into that era of hard rock, metal, hair metal, whatever you want to call it. And I think we always look back at it and we kind of like snubbed our noses at it. But there was a lot of great singers. There was a lot of great musicians during that period of time. And I think he's one of those. His voice is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Then obviously, my wife usually says that all the idols and icons that she had or has in her life, she does never want to meet with them in real life because like she has a picture of them and she don't want to get that ruined if in case they're not the persons that she thinks they are, right?
I hear you.
Unfortunately, in my profession, I meet with a lot of people, and I've met most of my childhood heroes, and I've even worked on a couple of Europe's DVDs and videos, working together behind the camera for Patrick Elias. And Joey Tempest was actually one of those guys that I didn't want to meet him because like after I got to like, meet him, talk to him, like everything was ruined. He was not the person that I thought he was. I'm not going to say if it was bad or good, but like
It's just
it was just
your
like,
expectations.
I wanted to have like that poodle, haircut. Yeah, I wanted to have that picture of him, like, the girl idol kind of rock star.
With some lipstick on, with a blazer on.
Yeah, no, not the look, but like the picture that you have, like this guy must be like this, and then it turns out that he's a great guy, but it was one of the person. If it's a weird thing to say though, that you don't want that you would like to have persons in your life unmet, but he's one of them.
He's one of them, and he still made your list. So that says something about how good his voice is and how much it influenced you.
Yeah, and I disclaimer as well. I'm not saying he's bad in any way. It's just the fact that I think people that are watching this will understand what I mean.
Yeah. Another name on your list that
I can say, I say like this. Sorry for interrupting, but David Beckham, for example, is one of these things. Like you see David Beckham on pictures on the the soccer player. He's no one can take penalty shots like him and blah blah blah, and all the girls think that he's gorgeous. And then when you hear him talk, you wish that he would just be quiet.
Yeah, same thing with Mike Tyson.
This is exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I get you. Another name on your list of this list of 5. I'm going to give you a chance of adding a bonus one because you told me that you kind of had 6. So I'm going to give you a chance to add a bonus one. But one of the names on this list that I also was not surprised to see was Rob Halford. I mean, the guy is an icon. So, Well, when did you discover Judas Priest and Rob Halford?
Pretty early. I think I think I found them around when Painkiller was released. And Rob Halford was the man that taught me how to do my falsetto voice, like how to do the high pitched screaming and take longer notes and you know, like really go into like the metal kind of, you know, the typical metal singer kind of thing. That was Rob Halford that taught me that. I actually have a song on our, I don't remember if it's it's on one of the Dreamland albums, and now I don't remember if it's called Heavenly Designed, I think the song is called, but I am on the top of my range through the whole song, and that was like a homage or whatever it's called to Rob, because you know, I wanted to do like one song that were this, yeah.
You know, I was a little bit surprised that you didn't have King Diamond on your list.
Okay, interesting.
I was like, oh, deep inside, I was like, I hope he's a fan of King Diamond. But
of course, I am a fan of King Diamond. I mean,
I know
like,
he was just not an influence for you.
I would say like this. So Andy LaRocque, he is like a bonus dad to me. He always took care of me when I moved down to Gothenburg and hung out a lot. And I call his family my second family because they're fantastic. So I love King Diamond. But here's the thing with King Diamond and King Diamond's music. Me as a person and a music listener, I always loved hooks. As you can see on my list, all those singers are singing in bands that has hooks in their music. King Diamond is a great singer, but there's no hooks in King Diamond's music. It's not the final countdown, right?
It's definitely, he's definitely not singing about the final countdown in Abigail. That's 100%.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And with Rob Halford, when you heard him and when you discovered Judas Priest and you were impressed with him, do you feel like he's one of those guys that can help you in terms of guiding you in what you can do or what you can try to do, but he's never the kind of guy that you can fully on emulate?
Yeah. I would be a fucking asshat if I would say that I could sing as good as Rob Halford, obviously. Obviously, I can mimic a lot of his stuff, like stuff that he does, like technically, but no one could ever beat Rob Halford when it comes to what he is doing. And the guy is like, you know, it's grandpa age of the dude, and he still sings like a god. I mean,
incredible.
It's incredible. So the question, or to answer your question, yes, you're right. It's exactly like he taught me a lot on how to approach things, how to breathe, how to like take those notes without like, and you know, still keep air in your lungs, because that is the hardest thing. Like when you're singing up here, to actually be able to continue wording on, even though you're singing so high. But no, I could never sing as Rob Halford, but I could do some of the stuff, like technically, absolutely, and he helped me with that.
If you could do a vocal cover of one of his songs, what song would you pick?
Here's the thing. On my YouTube channel, I put up covers of songs, right? But there are a lot of songs that I will never do because it feels like swearing in the church a little bit. Like it should be illegal to do cover songs on some songs.
Yeah,
I would say I would love to do a cover of like Painkiller, but I will never do a cover of Painkiller because I don't want to ruin that song. Imagine if someone comes in and hears Painkiller for the first time on my YouTube channel and they think this sucked and they will never listen to Judas Priest. Then I ruined that for Judas Priest, right?
No, I hear you what you're saying. Sometimes certain songs are best just left alone, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you're going with a cover that's completely different from the original. Like if you're if you're a brutal death metal band and you want to do a cover of Final Countdown, I think
Yeah, but wasn't it Immortal or something that actually did a cover of Final Countdown?
Yeah, and I think you can pull that off because it's so out of the box. It's so different. Then it's like, you know, it's kind of okay. It's like you're making it your own song at that point. It's not even a cover anymore.
No, exactly. It wasn't Immortal. It was some black metal band was doing a cover, and it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of covers like that. I think Dimmu Borgir did a cover of Twisted Sisters. And
yeah, that one is fantastic.
That one is fantastic. And a lot of people know that song as a Dimmu Borgir song. They don't even know it's a cover.
Exactly, but that cover is fantastic. I actually toured with Dimmu on in that era when they released that album with a cover on. I used to be a pyrotechnician back in the days as well. So
you've done everything.
Yeah, not everything, but a lot. I'm gonna say something stupid.
The next name on your list is Joacim Cans from Hammerfall.
Yeah.
So, what did you take from him?
So here's the thing, right? He is the only reason why I am, not maybe the only reason, but a big part why I am where I am today. I've said it like in one interview or two before, but he actually should be he should be credited more for what he did for my career. So when I first moved down to Gothenburg, he took me under his wings. He was the one that produced my first album. He was the guy that helped me get my first record deal. He was helping me out with contacts. He brought me on tour. He's been doing everything. So he's been like a musical mentor for me, and I can't thank him enough. So he was like the big brother I never had. So and also he was the one that gave me the strength to like I looked up to him, and I saw that if he could do this, and he's my friend, it's not going to be impossible for me to actually have my dream come true. Because like you always, like when you're a striving musician or an artist, you've heard your whole life that don't do that, get a real job. Don't do that. It's in a 1 in a million chance that you're gonna live out of your music, you know, etc., etc., etc. Like the negativity that comes from other people, your family, friends, and like still to this day, I've been a professional musician for over 10 years. When people ask me, it could be a meeting with my kids' parents, like, you know, when you're at school or whatever, and they ask you like, what are you working with? I'm a musician. Okay, so what's your real job? And you know, that annoys the hell out of me. But you know, the negativity about like being an artist or musician is still there, you know, 20 years later.
So are you telling me that the parents of the kids in your kids' school don't ask you for an autograph or like
yes, of course,
like a spot on the guest list?
Yes, yeah, some does that, of course, as well. But I'm not Michael Jackson, and I'm playing metal, and you know, a lot of people don't care the fuck about that. You know, they listen to pop music. So, but and on the other hand, it has never ever been on my list to become like a famous person. That has never been anything that I ever wanted to become. Like I never wanted to be the guy that you know, is everywhere and people should know or recognize or whatever. I've been into the music business because I love music and I love singing, and obviously I like the attention that I get from standing on a stage. Who doesn't? Because that's the best feeling in the world. But there are a lot of musicians that are in this business just to become famous. They could have just gone to Big Brother. They wouldn't care as long as they get, you know, airtime on TV or radio, or, you know, show their face in a magazine. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, all this negativity around you is breaking. It's, you know, crushing you from the inside, because like you're going to the rehearsal room, but then you're having in the back of your head, I never gonna become anything. Why am I doing this? I'm never gonna succeed anyway, because everyone is telling you you're not gonna become anything. And then I had Joacim Cans that were there like, yeah, come on, you can do it, you can do this. And, you know, at one point, I'm like, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. So, you know, and here we are today, like 15 years later.
Basically, what you're telling me is that he helped your career by any means necessary.
Yeah.
All right. Did you get the pun there? No? I was the whole time I'm like, every time I talk about Hammerfall, I always use that somehow in the conversation. So I was just waiting for the right time. Where can I use by any means necessary? And there you gave me the right opportunity to bring it on. By the way, he's also a huge hockey fan.
Yeah, I know. He is he's supporting Mora, the city where he comes from, and I support my old team, Mariestad, and New York Rangers. I don't care much about Swedish hockey nowadays. I'm more into the NHL. I don't know why. I don't have time to like follow two leagues.
Yeah, I can see that.
How about you? Are you a hockey fan?
I'm not a big hockey fan. I mean, I live in Toronto. I'm Canadian. I wasn't born in Canada, but I'm Canadian now. My son is also not a big hockey fan. He's more of a football fan. And by football, I mean like European football, not like American football.
Are you saying football? Are you saying football in Canada?
We say soccer, but for me, it's still football, right? Like, so that's what I grew up with. I grew up in Portugal. So football is Champions League, Europa League, EPL. Like, we watch everything. Like, anything Zlatan does, we watch. We're big fans of Zlatan. So
Zlatan is like, okay, so here's the thing, like going back to what I was talking about before, about like this negativity that comes on you, like he is the most un-Swedish person when it comes to how to behave, because as I said before, like people are saying like all this negativity coming in, like you take it in. Zlatan, he is like latex. It's just like whoosh, rips off, and then he points the finger and tell I'm the best. Like the best thing he ever said was that a reporter asked him like, so you've been married with your wife now for 10 years. What are you gonna give her for a wedding present? Why? She got Zlatan.
He's one of a kind. You know,
he is. I love him. I love him.
I read his book. The guy's just like one of a kind. I'm a big fan of his. But to be honest with you, I've been following Swedish soccer for a long time. Benfica, which is my team in Portugal, we had 3 Swedes. We had Jonas Tern, Stefan Schwarz, and Mats Johansson. So the Swedes were always on our radar. I was a big fan of Thomas Brolin back in the day as well.
Thomas Brolin, he had the best goal. What was it called? When you score a goal and you do something after you scored a goal, like his pirouette.
Yeah, he did some celebration. Kenneth Anderson was also a big name for me. Martin Pringle, I have to give a shout out to Martin Pringle. So yeah, so Swedish football has always been on my radar. So yeah, it's just hockey, not so much. I mean, I'm a big Mats Sundin fan because of obviously the Leafs connection.
Of course.
But
sorry for interrupting, but if I were you living in Toronto, I would go to the Hockey Hall of Fame every Saturday.
I've been once.
Me too. I've also been there once.
Next time you're in Toronto on a tour, we'll go together. We'll do a vlog.
Hell yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
And make sure that we could go in and hold the cup.
And we'll do a air hockey game. You know air hockey?
Yeah.
We'll do an air hockey game. See who wins.
Or if we play in Toronto during winter time, we have a real hockey game.
I can't skate.
Who cares? You can know me.
I'll be the goalie. I'll just sit on the ice. I'll be the goalie.
No, you can be Ty Domi. You know him, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
couldn't skate either, but still he was he was in the NHL. But he also never wore any gloves.
yeah, he was there just for the punches. He was rolling with the punches, you know, literally he was rolling with the punches.
Yeah.
The last name on your list, before we give you that bonus one at the end, the last name on your list is Michael Kiske. And when I first asked you for the list of the 5 most influential singers, you said Michael Kiske 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yes. And the surprise is that number 6 is going to be Michael Kiske. No, I don't know what it is about that man, but when I grew up, when I was like 6, 7 years old, and like Halloween was what really sold me into like becoming a metalhead. I think that I bought several of the Keeper albums because I played them so much that you couldn't play them anymore. I needed to like buy new albums because it, you know, either it was the vinyl ones or the cassettes or the CDs. Like, it's, I can't really say what it is, but his singing just like was out of this world for me. Like, I couldn't understand how can a human being sing like this, like the control that he has. And then you hear afterwards that like the Alive in the UK recording from like 89 or when it's from, he was shit drunk, but still it sounds like on the album. It's like it's so weird. I practiced when I started singing. I practiced a lot, so I were singing with the albums like more or less every day in the rehearsal room when I was there on my own. And I remember once again the negativity, like guys and girls from other bands, they were standing outside. I could hear them laughing because we're trying so hard and it sounded like crap. But that was always my biggest goal, to be able to sing not as him, but like be able to hit the notes, sing the way he does. So it's been a really big inspiration. And you can see here, my friend Alex gave me this for a Christmas present. It's a Halloween jewelry from his company, and it's actually from Danny, the drummer, cymbals. So make some commercials here, but Alex's company is fantastic. He makes jewelry from drummers' cymbals.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, you should check it out.
I need to check that out. That is really cool. Especially if you're a huge fan, you get a little momentum of the band itself.
Exactly, but this is awesome. So I wear it all the time now. Like, so that's Halloween is a really it's a band that I have close to my heart, so to say. And here's the funny thing, because like it was the band that really got me into like having this, as I told you about in the beginning, like, what's my alternative? I cannot be a hockey player anymore. What shall I do? The rock star thing came straight on from Halloween. Like, if I could, tour around the world like Halloween did, that would be great. And that started my career. And when I left Amaranth, my last show I did was in Tokyo, opening up for Halloween. So like when I left that stage, I felt like, okay, I can stop now. I did it. I opened up for my favorite band.
You mentioned earlier about meeting your idols, and so how sometimes you don't want to meet your idols. I'm assuming you got to meet them.
No, here's the thing. So Sasha, the guitar player that is pretty new in the band, even though he's been around for 10 years, is a great friend of mine nowadays. Danny as well. And he always got me into like those shows now when they played with Pumpkins United. Mm-hmm. But every time I got backstage to meet the guys, Michael was always gone. He always left the premises straight after the show. So still, I haven't met him. And now I'm thinking maybe I should not meet him, because maybe that will ruin my, whole point of the whole thing. So, but he's still my, you know, if I could idolize someone, I have very few idols. I have Peter Forsberg, I have Wayne Gretzky, and I have Mikael Kiske. You know, that I really like. I would pee my pants if I met them.
Wow, imagine if you met them all three at the same time.
Yeah, it would be a great foursome, right?
Wow, it would be a night to remember. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, which is a Camelot DVD.
we're going full circle on this. You know what I mean? With the references, we're going full circle.
Yeah.
Now, your bonus name out of the top five, your bonus name is Chester Bennington from Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Why did you feel the need of adding that extra bonus and making sure that Chester Bennington got a shout out?
Because, yeah, here's the thing. Like with Chester, I remember when the first Linkin Park song came, and it was so weird to hear like a metal band not playing metal, but it was still metal. But is it really metal? Is it am I allowed to like this, or shall I not like? Like, it was a really weird situation because I was still a teenager at the time. But I remembered that I loved the hooks. I loved the hooks. So I was working in a record store back then, so I took the album home and listened through it, and I fell in love with it. But it was never a band that really got stuck on me, like being a fanboy in any way. But I really liked them, and what I learned from Chester or from Linkin Park was the way to write music in an uncomplicated way. Does that make any sense?
No, it makes sense. It makes sense in the perspective that sometimes I listen to music and I say that in order for a song to be good, it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah, and then also he's also one of those things you could hear when he sings that he means every word. I did not understand it back then, but it was first after he died that I went back to read his lyric, and I realized, holy fucking hell, he's been telling everyone about how he feels the whole time.
Yeah, 100%.
No one been taking that seriously. And I'm not gonna mention this more than this, but I've been through like the pain of losing someone really close because of exactly what he went through, and he helped me also understand why and how things happen the way they do, because you feel that bad. You can't really understand how someone can feel that bad so that they want to like not live anymore, right? But I think it was a great man, and I think that we lost a really big person when he was gone. So I think that he deserves to be on the list as an inspiration, not only for singing, but great lyrics, great hooks, great artist in general.
I hear you. And I hear you about the lyrics too, because listening to Linkin Park before he passed, I was like, wow, man, these are some heavy lyrics, but I never really put too much attention into them. Like, I thought they were being more in terms of metaphorically speaking. You know what I mean? Like, this sounds good. It's like listening to Slayer. I mean, it's not like Slayer is going to kill somebody and remove their skin like they talk about in Dead Skin Mask. But once you listen to Linkin Park's lyrics, and then after he passed away, you start to put the puzzle pieces together. He was really talking a lot about himself and about all the struggles that he was going through. All of this stuff was deeply rooted in who he was and all his inner demons. So he was telling us all along all of this. It's just that we were not really paying attention.
Exactly. And there was one song that helped me a lot through my pain when my brother passed, where he sings that don't be sad when I'm gone, something like this, but remember all the good parts. And it's such an amazing lyric. And then when you're thinking about like, okay, when he wrote that song, was he in that kind of mode? Could it have happened then, but he took it, you know, took himself out of it and you know, continued on? Because because we're talking about it now and I get emotional. I don't remember the name of the song, but like you could really feel this thing where like, don't be sad. I took this decision myself. So, you know, remember the good things and not the bad things, and don't be mad at me. You know, it hurts to read it when you're going back to it.
Yeah, it almost feels like he was there at that point. He just decided that perhaps that was not the right time yet. But he was already letting us know that his mind was already there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah. So yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah, that's my list.
That's your list. Well, thank you for sharing your list with us. This was an absolute pleasure. I always have a great time talking to you about music, about the band, but this was a little bit different, talking about you as a singer, as a musician, and I really had a fun time with it. And once again, just thank you for taking the time.
Thank you very much for having me, and I hope that we could talk more often like this. Next time it's our favorite hockey players.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll do like a hockey players list or best Zlatan quotes or something like that.
Exactly. This is going to become a weekly thing.
Maybe we should start our own podcast.
Yeah, we should do that.
Well,
my 5 favorite butter.
Yeah, my 5 favorite things, whatever those things are, whatever those things are. Every week is a different thing, you know, like cheese or butter or I don't know. Well, I'm sure we wouldn't run out of things. That's for sure.
No.
But I'm going to take you up upon that. Next time you're in Toronto on a tour, we'll go to the Hockey Hall of Fame. We're going to do a vlog, and we're going to play some air hockey against each other, Sweden, Canada, and see who takes the gold.
Yeah, I think Portugal will win.
They're the dark horse. They're coming out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Well, Jake, thank you very much for your time. All the best to you and the family. Happy New Year. I think we can still say Happy New Year. Well, I think we can say Happy New Year at any point in a new year. But all the best in 2021. And just stay safe and stay healthy.
Yeah, and say hi to John if you see him.
I'll make sure I'll pass on the message.
Do so. Say hi to the family as well. Always nice to talk to you. Have a great evening.
Care, man. Bye.
Yeah, awesome. Bye.